Namaste. Welcome to your practice. This is a guided meditation for loving kindness and compassion toward yourself. We can use these practices, this type of meditation, to wish love and joy, compassion to anybody at all, even to all beings everywhere. But it's helpful to begin with ourselves. When we begin with ourselves, we ensure that our own needs are being met. We make sure that there's nothing in ourselves that we haven't addressed or tended to, so that when we do go to care for others, or when we do wish well to others in our meditation practice, we can make sure that it comes from a place of authenticity and genuineness, and knowing that our own needs have been met. And there's no space for resentment or anything but that true generation of compassion and love, and genuinely wishing the other person well. So we begin with ourselves. And for this type of practice, you can be in any comfortable position. Go ahead and take a moment or two to settle in here. Notice what it feels like to be in your meditation seat. We want a quality of uprightness to the spine, if that works for your body. Of course, if you need to lie down or if you need to support your body in a different way, then that's always the invitation. However, if you are able to sit comfortably upright, then do what you can to support yourself in a way that feels relatively alert, but not so rigid that you can't be comfortable and able to focus on what you're doing. You can let the hands rest naturally in the lap, wherever they've fallen. And then we'll just take another moment or two to tune in to what your body is experiencing in this moment. See what it feels like to be resting. When we sit down on our cushion to meditate, we're making a little promise to ourselves that we will be here with ourselves for a little while. This is an act of compassion in itself, and sometimes it's a little bit of an act of courage. It's not always easy to take time for ourselves and to say no to other obligations. So to begin, see if you can really allow yourself to feel that you are here and that you are resting. There's no feeling in the hips like you're going to have to get up and do something. We can allow the hips to be heavy, the legs to be soft, maybe even a little bit relaxed. Check in with the feeling in your belly, in your abdomen. Are you able to allow your belly to soften here? If you feel like you have to be a little controlled in the abdomen or in the front of the hips, you may need to sit up a little bit higher, support yourself on another cushion or a couple of blocks. Encourage your belly to soften if you can. And from the strong base of your hips now, the spine rises toward the sky. And the spine has natural waves in it, of course. We don't need to try to have a straight spine, but the spine has a quality of upliftedness, of rising upward. And there's a natural openness to the chest. We don't have to force it as your two shoulder blades drop down and away. Feel the pleasant base of the hips supporting you, solid. Feel the softness of the belly. Feel the natural lift of the curves of your spine. And as the chest naturally rises and opens, the shoulder blades naturally drop down and away. When we take time to care for ourselves in this way, to ensure that we're comfortably seated in meditation, this is the first step in our loving kindness and compassion meditations. If we are so uncomfortable that we are going to be preoccupied on some level with that discomfort, then we're not able to give our full attention to the work at hand. Many of you have heard the metaphor of when we're on a plane and the oxygen mask drops because the plane is in trouble, we need to put the mask on ourselves first before we care for anyone else. And that's true here too. Just reflect for a moment that making your body comfortable is an act of self-care. It's an act of loving kindness. It's an expression of compassion. And that we care for ourselves in this way so that we can be more effective as we move forward. Now begin to notice your breath as it comes and goes in your body. Feel how the body's breath has been moving through you this whole time. You haven't needed to tell your body to breathe. It knows that it's supposed to be breathing. And in this way, too, we can reflect that our body loves us. Our body loves itself. That it is our fundamental nature to take care of ourselves so that we can keep going. And this, too, is loving kindness. Now we'll work first with this concept of loving kindness. And in this meditation, we'll repeat a phrase to ourselves. You can say it out loud if you like, or you can whisper it to yourself, or you can repeat it verbally in your mind without any sound. Simply hearing the words in your mind. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. Let's say that to ourselves now. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. You might notice as you say these words to yourself, may I have happiness and the causes of happiness. You may notice that there's a feeling that comes up for you. Notice that. What would it feel like to have happiness? Can you imagine yourself with happiness? You might remember a time that you felt very happy, that you felt satisfied or joyful. Remember with your body how that felt. Was there a quality of warmth in the body? Or an impulse to hug or to dance? Was there a smile on your face? See if you can remember the feeling of happiness in your body and wish that for yourself now. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. Now, the causes of happiness can vary, right? Many things might make you happy, maybe ice cream or beautiful weather or something physical like a car or clothing. Could be a friendship or a loved one. It could be some good fortune that happens to you. When you wish yourself the causes of happiness, you don't have to think about how valuable they are, how petty they might seem. We can just wish for ourselves the things that make us happy. Let it be simple and without judgment. We can wish pleasure for ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that. It might be health, or food, it might be spiritual, or very mundane. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. It may be that for some reason you find this difficult. There are lots of reasons that that could be true for you. If you find that your mind has wandered, that's really common. Just as with all of our other types of meditation, when we notice that we've gotten lost, we just gently invite our awareness back to this phrase. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. If you notice that it's difficult for you because it's hard to evoke the feeling of happiness, or you feel like in some way it isn't right to wish happiness for yourself, but you still want to try this work, it's okay for it to be a little bit artificial. We can fake this. That's not a problem. It becomes more genuine. But we do begin to start simply with these words. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. If you feel like it's becoming too artificial, or if you notice that you're simply repeating the words but your mind has gone elsewhere, then we can let go of this meditation for a little while and simply rest in awareness. And when we do this, it's as though we set down the meditation for a moment and simply become present with whatever unfolds around us. You might hear the sounds in the room, feel sensation in your body. It's not an invitation to stop meditating or to move around, but we're just giving the mind a rest from its current focus and letting it be more open and spacious. As though your mind were a projector and thoughts, sounds, sensations were just moving across your screen. And then when you've rested for a little while, we come back. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. Now we'll all let that go and let the mind rest for a moment or two in that open awareness. Simply present and aware to whatever is unfolding within your mind, within your body, and around your mind and your body. It's as though you just sat down from a hard day's work and the mind rests. And now we can begin to turn toward the second object of our meditation today, which is compassion for ourselves. Loving kindness and compassion are like two sides to a coin. It's very similar, but where with loving kindness we were wishing ourselves happiness, With compassion, we are wishing ourselves freedom from suffering. So the phrase here is to say to oneself, may I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. You might imagine a time where you were unwell, even if you just had a little cold. Remember what it felt like to not feel well. And I wouldn't pick a time where you felt so terribly bad, but something that was a little bit of suffering. Remember yourself, you can even imagine yourself, and send yourself relief from that suffering. Wish for yourself that you don't have suffering like that again. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. If your body is a little bit uncomfortable here, you might wish to yourself that you be free from that discomfort. And with both of these types of meditation, we don't have to get involved with thinking about how this happens. It's just an aspiration, a wish, a genuine wish. So we don't have to imagine some complex situation by which we are delivered from our suffering. We're just wishing that there not be suffering. You don't have to create it for yourself, you just have to wish it. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I not have pain. May I not be sad. May I not feel grief or heartbreak. May I not have hardship. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And you can imagine yourself free from suffering. You might remember a time where your nose was a little stuffed up, or you had some sort of little infection in your body. How grateful you felt when that cleared up. How wonderful it is to be able to do the things you could do when you didn't have that problem. Remember that feeling with your body and your mind, and wish that for yourself. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. If you notice that your mind has gotten lost, or if you find that you're simply repeating the phrases to yourself without any sense of the meaning, give yourself that little break. Let yourself rest in open awareness. And that too is a kindness. This is training just like any other kind of meditation. Training in loving kindness and compassion. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. Now, letting go of that technique as well, rest again in open awareness. Simply allow your mind to rest with whatever sensations you feel, whatever sounds you can hear, with whatever the experience is like being in your body. Okay. And now, letting go, we can move and stretch a little bit. And take another moment to resonate with the echo of that meditation. You can practice loving kindness meditation for yourself anytime, anywhere. And if you find it difficult to practice one, you could do just the other, or you can go back and forth, or you can do both at once. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. Thank you so much for taking this time for yourself. If we all were to do this kind of work, it could really transform how we feel about ourselves, how we treat ourselves, and how we're able to be with others in the world. I look forward to sitting with you again soon. Please be well.